Hello, folks. How you doing? Welcome to Smartphone Theater, your home for live digital theater, and our fourth poetry night, Summer Passions. We have a great lineup for you guys tonight. It's been a while. Before I introduce everybody, all of our poets for tonight, I just want to say, hello. It's been a little while, so we're doing shows every 2 weeks, give or take, maybe 3 weeks. Maybe 1 week, we'll see. We'll see what we have next. And speaking of which, what we have next is an amazing interview. I'm not going to tell you who it was with, but we have an amazing interview that's going to come up. So it's either going to play next week or it's going to play the week after. I will send out notices about this. It's really, it's wonderful. So just look out for it. It's really, really terrific. And I am, to all of the playwrights out there in the audience and so forth, this is a wonderful platform for playwrights and actors and directors, of course, but it's very actor and playwright and director, but very playwright centric. So if you have a play that you want me to read and consider, we do have a few rules. We want to keep the standards very high. So feel free to reach out to me, Todd at smartphonetheater.com. I'm reading constantly. I'm reading all the time. So I'd be really happy to read your work. And if you're open to having me give you comments at the same time. Okay, so that said, yes, summer solstice is this Sunday. First day of summer is this Sunday. So the Smartphone Theater poets, they and I decided that we would make this based around the changing of the seasons. And that's what we're going to do. Every poetry night is going to revolve around the changing of the seasons. So our next one will be in the fall. Since this one is our spring summer, we made it Summer Passion. So most of the pieces that you hear tonight are going to revolve around summer passions, passion, something. You guys be the judge. Immediately following, we're going to do a talk back for as long as we're very casual. So if you have questions, we're here to answer. If you want to say hi to the poets, if you have anything else that you want to comment about, please stick around. That goes for our YouTube audience as well. So stick around and we'll do our best to ask. Speaking of which, our Smartphone Theater room has just increased in size. So before we've had many a night that has sold out and defaulted over to YouTube. So now our room has moved to 500. So we have now a nice big 500 person room. So there may be, these big productions that are going to bring in that size of a house. And I just want you guys to know that for you that felt bad, you got moved over to YouTube, we now have a much bigger house. We have now a much bigger capacity. So you won't be left off. All right, that said, and I've said quite enough for one evening. Let me introduce our poets to you. First off, we have Poetri. Come on in, Poetri. There we go. Hannah Logan. Awesome. Buffy Shutt. Hi, Buffy. Shirley Sniderman. Hi, Shirley. Oh, we lost you again. Come on back. Come back, Shirley. There we go. Joseph Walsh. Hello, Joseph. Smokey Miles. All the way from Long Island, Smokey Miles. Elaine Madsen. Elaine, turn on your video. Where are you, Elaine? Elaine, I know you're out there. Elaine, there's your entrance. I know you would like to make an entrance. Hello, Elaine. Michael Cavanaugh. Hello, Michael. Devon O'Brien. And Kevin Kelly. Fantastic. All right. Everybody stay where you are. I am actually going to turn off my video and we're going to start with poetry. So let me press a button here. Poetri, unmute yourself. And
I am unmuted.
It is all yours.
All right. It's a passion of mine, and that is poetry is a passion of mine. So this poem is about, it said, should have wrote it last night. I woke up one morning looking for my poem. Should have written it last night. Well, I was sleepy, you know how that goes. And plus, I figured I'd just jot it down the next day. But when I woke up 12 hours later, this poem that I stuck in my head had disappeared. Now, understand, I wasn't worried at first. I mean, I didn't cry to the heavens, where, oh, where art thou, poetry? After all, how far could my poem have gone? It's got to be around here somewhere. I ran to the mirror to make sure I wasn't tripping. I just had to check and see if my poem was still in me. Don't get it twisted. My name is Poetri. The mirror just shook its head and said, should have wrote it last night. After I racked my brain, making sure that it wasn't stuck in my head somewhere, wrapped around in a thought somewhere, I tore the house up and down, hoping to find it deep in my jeans pocket from yesterday. Sometimes it likes to hang around with the change. My poetry is always looking to revolutionize, so I look for it in my daughter's eyes. I searched the dreams of my other baby girl and carefully explored in my wife's ambition. But my poem still came up missing. Dang it. Should have wrote it last night. Then I prayed, but I found it in a prayer. Yeah, that's it. Because that's where a lot of my poems be. Born from my sins, often begging for forgiveness. My poems usually start off with Yahuwah and end with redemption. Yeah, let me check my prayers. Yeah, I'm sure if I look carefully, that's where my poem will be. But my prayers answered me quickly. Should have wrote it last night, they said. A poem has left me before, but it always comes back. Every day I used to go to the bank. You'd come home smelling like ink and paper. I didn't mind and let my words stay with interest and let them play with stocks and bonds and other cash flow. I can run out of money, never run out of my poems though. But now I was getting worried. It was getting late and the banks had closed and still no sight. I called the police station, but they said, should have wrote it last night. A poem loves to be around comedy, disguising itself as humor. Ever since it was a kid, it would play this game using laughter to hide its pain. So insecure and so unsure. It could be out in the streets alone. Maybe it got exposed for what it really is, a cry for help and a desire to be heard and held. So like any concerned parent, I was getting worried. What if my poem ran off and got killed somewhere? What if it was walking down the street and got poem napped by some deranged poet who would molest it and show it off as if it was his, keeping it hidden in broad daylight? If only I had written it last night. Yeah, have mercy. I should have written it last night. So if you see my words lying around on the sidewalk, begging for some kind of change, don't just walk by. Stop and say hi. That's my heart. That's my life. That's my poem. The one I should have wrote last night. Thank you.
A last chance love letter to those who have done nothing to be worthy of said letter. Dear heartless fuckers, dearest ones who destroy, maim, crush, ravage, erase, and vaporize without consequence, without regard, with no thought of a woman's dignity, nor interest in an ebony child's dreams, never looking down the well of sorrow in which bodies of immigrant babies are tossed, where the bones of no longer useful to you old people lie, where the spirits of indigenous people whisper their ancestors' names, where the hope of the poor gasps for breath, where the naive who believe you have fallen, shot in the back by your lies, where all of them lie covered in the leftover wood chips from the mighty centuries-old trees chopped down to build your heaven-high castles. You who think you are impervious, we have taken notice. Dear ones, still trying to get daddy's attention, whose ears have been made deaf by the din of the stock exchange floor, where money buys you a kind of lofty peace from your shame and has given you fleeting moments of tenuous silence. We hear you when you loudly smack the bottoms of young women whose throat chakras close out of fear of retribution, allowing you to open yet another account on a foreign shore to close yet another shady deal. We see you, pig humans, who still find a way to legally ensure that certain shades of human stay a neighborhood away from your own precious, perfectly manicured cul-de-sac. Then from your feng shuied and queer-eyed to the nines home office, you ironically command the slaughter of all the trees and bushes in the courtyards of the low-rent apartment buildings you own that ignorant renters stupidly called their yard, making mulch of the flowers, a picture of which was taken just a week ago by the 7-year-old girl in apartment C, posted by her teacher on the school Instagram, part of her science project. She won a gift certificate for $5. You, so gifted, so smart. About the bottom dollar, can you remember which building she is in? We do. We remember. You, who always craft an appropriate narrative. For the liberals, you'll say saving water, dangerous insecticides, you understand. For conservatives, a straighter shoot, immigrant gardeners, plus trying to keep costs down. They'll all nod. We'll all nod because we hate not trusting other humans, the benefit of the doubt benefiting only you. Trust in you, our downfall, yet we must, and down we go again, while you count your Benjamins, counting on us to not notice the sleight of hand yet again, you moralists, magicians. You who pillage with pleasantries, blaming the bleeder for the bleeding, while still holding the dagger that bears your ancestors' crest. You who mid-rape whisper, sorry, I meant to call first. We smell you, your breath, your comings and goings, no longer oblivious to your doings, what was done to them, to us, what you do, even that you cannot see, you do to yourselves. We see a cry for help too. If you'd only but notice, there'd be miracles if you'd be willing to hear your own lies, see the wreckage, whom you've been, smell the carnage left by your sins, by your egos unattended. Dear brother, dear father, dear long lost friend, may we help you remember the beginnings of you, start the mending of broken hearts, broken promises, broken unseeing glasses, and at long last, see your broken souled prodigal buckwit come home. Stop lying about who you are, about what's important, about what is true. For dear lost ones, dear mad baby kings, we're all done with your antics and with you. Because whether your eyes open, whether or not you take heed, whether you hear the bell tolling and listen, know this, it does toll for thee. Thank you.
Hello. Why didn't you quit? Why didn't you quit when you peed on yourself during endless meeting? It was only a few drops, and I had put a maxi pad on. Why didn't you quit when you had to put on a wetsuit for that meeting on a raft in the ocean? I thought he was kidding. I liked him. Why didn't you quit when the movie star snark the poster looked like a blowjob? I was embarrassed. I considered an answer. I knew cocaine was afoot. No help was coming. Why didn't you quit when the producer pushed you up against the wall and put his hand inside your blouse? I made a joke. I was relieved my nipple stayed flat as a quarter. Why didn't you quit when your boss asked you, want to know how I get hard? I was in a business suit, navy blue. I sat still as a stone. Why didn't you quit when he hummed out the answer? I look at my checkbook. I wanted to quit, but I wanted more to show them, prove I could walk barefoot over hot coals, stand on my head, endure it in a pretty silence.
She froze. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Stay tuned. We'll wait for the computer. I'm gonna give it 2 secs. Buffy, you are frozen. So we're going to jump to our next person and then possibly bring you, just text me when you get back and we'll bring you in again. Okay. All right. So I'm going to jump to Shirley and we'll hope that Buffy can get her computer working again. Okay. So Shirley, you're going to be on.
I'll never forget that day. It was spring and the daffodils were making their annual appearance. There they were in various shades of creamy white and dazzling yellow, and the birds were chirping up high on the hidden branches, and a lone coot paddled across the still waters of Lake Marie. Spring had certainly arrived in Antioch. And in the house, there was another sign as the ladies bustled back and forth, preparing for the season's pick of pies and cakes for the wedding that was long overdue. The year before, COVID had taken over and nothing else moved. Everyone waited impatiently and wondered if they could hang on until the rays of hope would return. And they did. At long last, with light rain on the horizon and evening twinkle of city lights, Ben and Katie became one. There was a thunderous sound of applause and mazel tov as those who bore witness applauded. Spring had certainly arrived in Antioch, and I'll never forget that day. The paths unknown. We should all take the paths unknown and learn about its history, the people, the times, the stories and facts, and unravel the roadside mystery. Such was the case on our trip up north, wending our way through the vineyards. Old battered barns beckoned beyond as the road twisted and sloped down and upwards. Driven to find the elusive wild berries, we coursed through the single-lane byways. Ever vigilant to find our reminiscent stash, we found turns that directed us sideways. With names like Freestone and Valley Ford, they enticed us with cheese samples and wine. Hidden away were the brambling bushes that lured us to these unknown finds. At last, the berries did appear, as the bushes spread their arms, thorns in sight. Picking them in the morning warmth gave way to satisfaction and pure delight. And now, back at home, indulging in jam and cakes, the berries filled us with pleasure. Our pictures as well, left to tell of our journey on the paths unknown. Such was the treasure. Still standing. Standing on the threshold of tomorrow with the knowledge of yesterday, seeking my place in today. Standing on the edge of the unknown with the memories of those who have gone before me and wanting to be here, part of the here and now. Standing alone on the rim of expectation with the recollection of what was and yearning to tell new stories. Standing and crying with joy for what is to come and laughing at the foolishness of my youth. But truth be told, I wouldn't change too much. Wait a minute. Standing with outrage at the carnage of wars, I recall the horrors of other generations, only to witness it again and again. Standing with trepidation of the evil man can and will do, for I have lived knowing the fear and anguish of the past. Is it too much to want peace and civility now? Standing with the fear that we won't learn, as we see history repeat and repeat itself. Can we even think about change? And yet, standing with the belief that the good will prevail, for I have known and seen the heroes of the years gone by. My goal is to follow in their footsteps and follow their dreams. I'm still standing. Thank you.
The river. I'm tired. I want to float on a river if it were moving slowly and sliding like oily glass, the quiet grass rhyming in the wind and swaying in prayerful rhythm. Walking past the aviary into the creek bed, the lizards scattered like broken glass at our feet as all manner of insects refused to give up their hiding places. We knew the eyes were upon us and would shine in the falling light, and there would be no sense of memory because everything would be new. The leaves would be replaced waxy green and yellow. The sounds would be replaced upon the rocks. The water would be erased and reinstalled so that the small flies could reamass to feed the fish. All the limbs would bend again upon the boughs that brushed the lake and the breathing all around us. In the Luxembourg Gardens, leaves shift like sequins, their shadows on the raked path, here where the past is not past. The boys fake and fake again, oblivious of what came before, what's to come. Only the ball and the game and the river moving in the distance. Memorial Park. I remember mittens and ice, sitting in the curve of the great sled in my sister's lap. How steep that ride. It was the day of the secret door in the wall of books. You were afraid, my friend, but I was brave for you as the door closed with the wave of a wand and the stories began. It wouldn't be long before I was afraid in that other world where new trees struggled to grow out of concrete. I lay on the mat with milk and crackers ready for the nap that never came, while the children slept around me, then walked the long blocks home. Years later, I visited and found the room much smaller. I looked in as if into a laboratory, the observation window angled down, no one sleeping, no mats and crackers, just ABCs and building blocks. The experiment, it seemed, was over, and me there alone looking in the result. I traced my way back to the house I never found. The blocks were still long, too long for a child to walk alone, far from library school in Memorial Park, where I held a friend's hand, letting him know everything would be all right and that we would be home before dark. And perfect. Do you think? Let me see. Can I get back to you? No, you're right. Did I tell you? Oh, I remember now. Do you believe him? Your prerogative. I would wait. It's quite a ways. I don't remember. If it's safe. Are you sure? Both of them? Very young. Too young. I can't believe it. Right outside on the lawn? That's what he said? Are you sure? I would. No. What? If you want, and you're sure. Okay, I will. So that's it? Of course. Of course. Of course. Okay. 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 Okay, yes, it's settled. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. This one is about the disparity between cyberspace and reality. It's keeping in the theme of passions, summer passions and all. Love and heat in cyberspace. Let's go. We've all lived through a pandemic. The condition's been systemic, with no one seeing anyone too much. Isolated in our homes with nothing but cell phones and computers, iPads, you yourself and such. So you land upon a Zoom, a YouTube, or a private room, and you see somebody that you like a lot. Just an image on a screen, but you know just what I mean. That individual gets you all bothered and hot. It takes a bit of learning to realize all your yearning would not at all meet your physical needs. But you keep gazing at the image. It's like playing a game of scrimmage, and on that person, your imagination feeds. There you are, cool as a cuke, while inside you feel the nuke, like a bomb just waiting to explode. You like that other person's fashion, and your heart is filled with passion, but you know you both must remain in your abodes. Yes, it's nice to look, but what really gets you shook is the inability to feel and taste and smell. That'll give you an unease that doesn't come from the disease, but because you can't be close to them, that's hell. You want to hold them in your arms and experience their charms, kiss lips and explore their swerves and curves. Digital is okay, but it won't get you off the way you know deep down each one of us deserves. You keep thinking this will end, and your computer friend will be converted into a real and substantial lover. You'll be doing what lovers do and get it all right back to you. There's so much more to it than just what the screen's uncovered. Oh, baby, can't you see? I still want your nudity. I so want to have you unfiltered and really real. We're both humans, don't you know? It's nice what cyberspace will show, but a body needs a body it can feel. Yes, you got me hot, hotter than a lot. Maybe, baby, you even know who you are. To see you in the flesh and see if we would mesh, I'd come to you, though I'd have to come from afar. Can you feel it in your face, coming right through cyberspace? With the heat red like a beet, your skin is flushing. If you gaze in the looking glass, you'll understand what just has passed. And you'll moan, oh my God, I'm really blushing. But when we shall meet and feel the steaming heat that seems to exist with only those cyber clues, I think it could be great if you and I would mate, and we'll look back to that time as though we've paid our dues. Thank you too much.
I climbed to the top of a dandelion and found you hiding there. We lolled all over the golden fluff and came down to find people stare. I don't know why they act that way, but on the other hand, I've never seen any other fuzzy yellow ones like me and thee. We saw at the exact same moment how the sea turtle minds its own oval seams in the dreams of the sea teller's song. But at the aquarium, the sea turtle circles, gone slightly mad, but slyly amused at being served and now being safe from man. This is a monologue for two. I know and love a part of you, the part of you that's poet. I fear the part I cannot see, veiled with something dark. Is it a scrim that you designed to foster an illusion, or curtain drawn to the center, awaiting an overture's cue? Can the scrim be taken out? Will there be a curtain call? Will there be a review? We'll know by the early edition. Can't we decide for ourselves? We could query the composer, the producers, and the writers. We could question the director and interrogate the crew. But it's we who are composer, director, and the cue. It's we who are producers and the writers. We're an audience of two. Who the hell writes the review? Maybe it's still rehearsing. Has it closed? Is it being held over? Where is the early edition? I don't think Variety covers these things. When going on beyond all reason, you will need your boots, and you must hold your hand. Yes, your own hand, the one with the Buddha's eye. This is called deconstruction. The boundaries imposed by convention have porous and seedy edges where we are tested when we push against them on attempting deconstruction. Whether you tap dance, slash and burn, burrow beneath, or leap out on faith, you will only remain unscathed if you stay where you are and tear pieces from your soul to feed convention's rules. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize for my technical difficulties. Why didn't you quit? Why didn't you quit when you peed on yourself during endless meeting? It was only a few drops, and I had put on a maxi pad. Why didn't you quit when you had to put on a wetsuit for that meeting on a raft in the ocean? I thought he was kidding. I liked him. Why didn't you quit when the movie star snarked the poster looked like a blowjob? I was embarrassed. I considered an answer. I knew cocaine was afoot. No help was coming. Why didn't you quit when the producer pushed you up against the wall and put his hand inside your blouse? I made a joke. I was relieved my nipple stayed flat as a quarter. Why didn't you quit when your boss asked you, "Want to know how I get hard?" I was in a business suit, navy blue. I sat still as a stone. Why didn't you quit when he hummed out his answer, "I look at my checkbook"? I wanted to quit, but I wanted more to show them, prove I could walk barefoot over hot coals, stand on my head, endure it in a pretty silence. Song of the movies. Through wide doors, the ushers, boys I've known since middle school, nod me out. I sing the movies. I wing back home. I love the movie dialogue, a red lifesaver floating in my mouth. I love movies so much that soon enough, when boyfriend is in the door, I want to mouth off. Use my movie way to push him around. He's tired from work, wants only a joint and a beer. He runs his hands over me, makes me spit out the lifesaver. Movies under my nails, movies clinking in my glass like ice, thirsty, I have to sip. At work, I steal my friend to smoke outside and talk movies, old movies. One screen in the sixplex makes room on Fridays. Online, I reserve D105, 106. Friday is coming. Ginger and Fred will soon be gliding over us. Nora will teach us to martini and wisecrack with Nick. I will be Claudette Colbert, and for 2 weeks, I will grab his hands and he will only get to touch me on my left side. I will grab his hands and shove them into Kate Hepburn's trouser pockets. Stop, my friend begs. It's only hump day. I promise your Friday is coming, and get shouty and go on about Betty throwing off her matching fur jacket and hat, Ingrid getting poisoned for being a spy, Audrey eating her necklace on Fifth Avenue. I sure hope Wilma's a swell girl. It's the women, 30 feet tall, we love. We unbutton our blouses and let their power splash over us. We wince when their fast-talking, high-heeled, clicking, padded-shouldered strutting smacks into a wall, bricked up by some guy. Tell you what, I'll toss a coin. Head you say, tails you go. A fist comes out, the odd gun. We cover one eye, rear back. My friend leans in to whisper, never get married. I'm thinking something else, like how about I grind my big movie cocktail ring into his face. I love movies. When Friday night arrives, I pull at my friend, come with me if you want to live. The lights take their time dimming, like a boy leaning in for a first kiss. The dark snatches us up. Oh, I love movies. A rage, a rose, something to squander, something to squelch the humdrum. I sing the movies. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Cavanaugh. The piece I'm going to read is called Passion versus Precedent. I took her in my arms one last time, pressing her lips up against mine. I wanted the smell of her breath and the taste of her mouth, fresh in my mind as I headed south. I held her tight, her soft against me, wondering if I would ever be free from lying awake all alone at night, seeing her face, such a beautiful sight. Seeing her face, what a beautiful sight. Okay, all right, I know, I admit, I confess, perhaps a little naughty, misguided deed indeed, perhaps plagiarism, plagiaristicality. I know those lines. I wrote those lines. I spoke those lines, and yes, even sang them too. They were, way back then, and still are now, the lines of a love story. The lines of a very lovely love story, even if I say so myself. But the question arises, and one theorizes, are the lines still valid? Can they still be used? Or by using them again, is the copyright abused? And will people look askance and will I be accused? I mean, I am the author. I wrote them all down. But if using them again, will everybody frown? Will there be coming knocking at my door, briefcase carrying legal types ×4? Will they be demanding hand scribbled notes, showing as proof that I am the one who wrote? Wait, please. If we move away for just a moment or two and disregard the potential dilemma of a copyright abuse, we might just find that another question may arise upon which one can also theorize. Do the lines, lying awake all alone at night, seeing that face, such a beautiful sight, do those lines mean, do they imply, as one lies there looking up at the sky, that there is heat to be had and passion for which one will be glad? Lying awake all alone at night, seeing that face, such a beautiful sight. Whosever that beautiful face may be, is it the one that you want to see, no matter if it's a he or a she? Is it the one who helps set you free? Is it the one when you awake in the morn, you remember with glee the him or her that blew your horn? Is it the one that, never mind. I'll let it go at that. But if any of that rings a bell at all and makes your heart race, well, then them legal types, they got no case. Plagiarism, plagiary, plagiaristicality. This case is about passion and precedent. And in my book, passion kicks butt. So in this case, I can do whatever I want, even if it makes the legal types frown, because I am the one who wrote it all down. Now, one more time in my calm, quiet way, let me take you on that journey again, and I'll simply say, I took her in my arms one last time, pressing her lips up against mine. I wanted the smell of her breath and the taste of her mouth, fresh in my mind as I headed south. I held her tight, her soft against me, wondering if I would ever be free from lying awake all alone at night, seeing her face, such a beautiful sight. Seeing her face, what a beautiful sight. Thank you.
This is called January in New Hampshire, or How Your Leaving Learns Me. It's a longer poem. I'm going to read you 4 sections of it. The first one is called Goodbye. The gigantic bus idles, snorting smoke. You stand on the edge of the curb, mittened, capped in fur, and circled in a scarf and emanate cheer. Your booted legs step and stomp like a filly in her pen, like you are practicing the cha-cha, like you would shoo away and never mind the complete and complicit cold of January in New Hampshire. On the other side of the pane, I am in a plush seat on a posh bus, overheated, practically gasping in the privileged man-made air. I see you and you see me. This is our equality. I know what this looks like. We are all smile though, our hands wag between our eyes, invisible lines, links, cords, the cables of our connection. These are taut, fraught, and crucial. You could pin and dry clothes on these lines. Breath blooms from your lips like the bubble in a comic strip. What would you say? What can I possibly say? Our mouths speak only grins like women underwater. We are women underwater. I know what this looks like, only I am not leaving. The dirty ruins of yesterday's snow ring around you like sentinels, the ghosts of grief. You are the only animate thing in the icescape that is January in New Hampshire, and somehow you smile. The jumbo bus roars, rears, and the finale of our farewell is a send-off of smiles. The bus turns and we go just like that. We are gone. Our connection snaps and my heart collapses for you. This is called The Ride. He makes a decision based on something, one hopes, like the clock or some secret metric passed on from headquarters. When you don't know why something happens, everything seems random or appointed. He operates levers, spins the wheel, he leans in and lips something into the mic. He's inaudible, he's inarticulate. Who knows what he wants us to know? Thus begins our trip, New Hampshire to New York, like a ride in Disneyland. The streets of Hanover are free of people. The cold is skin burning, yet picturesque. We are on a safari of winter. City streets devoid of cars are broad boulevards strewn with white carpets, the gutter on each house fringed by icicles, and every lamp is hatted in snow. The world is like a weather museum. The others aboard the bus watch the mind conditioning screens. They catch reruns, contestants on The Voice, or highlights of an old Leno. It's a cushy crib and they dig it. While I set morose eyes on the screen showing the window. It's a good show, and I need answers from the snow. This is the window. Sticks, trunks, and tufts of grasses, white birch and other deciduous leafless trees, each branch bare, boughs lined with snow, clumps of grass clobbered, beset by snow. The evergreens hold snow in their skirts like ladies in great gowns at cotillion. Breathless trees twirling, stilled, mid-dance. What do I know of their exuberance? Their escorts, leafless, skeletal fellows, wear snow on their boughs, the gloves of gentlemen. They too are stopped and stilled, a tilt under the sky. These trees without leaves, could these be more dead? Their heads like bare tips or brooms scratch at the floor of heaven. The dance is stopped and all watch. They all know and watch me as I go. It's the last stanza. It's called Woe Interrupted. My woe is interrupted by others on the bus. His earphones are strings to the screen and they animate him. Head nodding, eyes smiling. He sighs with it, breathes with it. He shakes. I hear his laughing, only I don't get the joke. Another talks loudly to someone who is not here. He's on his cell phone enjoying a conversation. I act all irritated like the man or like the ma'am I suppose that I am. A turn of my head should be enough said. He sees it, he gets it, he grooves it, grins. He gives me a wink, continues his sin. His cadences mingle and mangle. They magnetize mine, tangling my feet. They muss, muddle, and befuddle my rhyme. Doesn't he know? Doesn't it show I am trying to hear a torrent of tears, trying to tame a tsunami of woe into a tide and iambically. Meanwhile, the guy goes along fuckily with a fuck here and a fuck there, here a fuck, there a fuck, everywhere a fuck. Oh, this brother's chatter and beat fornicates with mine. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. My name's Kevin, and this is a little piece from a book that I'm writing called Homeless in My Hometown. I kept drinking, even though it stopped working. I couldn't get loaded. I couldn't stop the pain. A brother in heaven yells down to his brother in hell that heaven is an overrated bore, and that all he does is float around on a cloud, eternally grateful. And he yells down with a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a hot babe in the other. The brother in hell looks up to his brother. He goes, I'm down here with the bottle in one hand and a babe in the other, and there's no hole in the bottle. That's hell. No hole in the bottle, no hole in the babe. Before I was released from the hospital, I asked the psychiatrist a question. Doc, I said, can I still drink? He paused and said to me, sure, you can have a drink every now and then. The drink didn't get my gift. I was asking him if I could go back to live the rest of my life with the most devoted and wondrous of dream lovers, the one that quenched my from the first time to the last, and again, and never left my side. I got up and I shuffled back over to the window, looking out to observe the light. All the great painters in history caught the light in the time of day. I saw the birch tree in the backyard in front of the woods that hid the fields, that became the power line lines, when more houses were being built for more people. I climbed that tree as a kid and I could see those fields. Now I couldn't even climb that tree. All I could do is lay here in front of it. I remember the dog being with me at the foot of this tree in the grass. I remember petting him with tears in my eyes as I talked to him about things I could not talk about with my father. I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, crossing over to the door leading outside, opening the back door, going outside, spitting, coming in, closing the door, coming around the bar, turning on the bathroom light to see me looking up at him like a wounded animal, an imposing figure. He was bigger than life. He always appeared to me this way. You have to get out. To get out from behind there, Sean. Come on, get out from behind the bar. I got up. I walked to the window again. I sat down at the couch. In his armchair, father's chair, he asked me if I was okay. He shook my head. No. We stared at the blank screen. Nothing was said. It was an awkward moment, to say the least. You okay? I shook my head, no. You want to watch some TV? He said. I shook my head again, no. Let's see if we get the Yankees on. Leave the TV blank, I said. I don't want to hear anything except the silence. He got up and he shouted upstairs, Boots, let's go. We're going to be late for therapy. Shouted back something I couldn't understand. My father sat back in his chair. We didn't say anything. Usually I'd ask him to tell the stories about the glory days, just like his father did him. I wanted to say things to him. My whole life, I sat there on the couch wanting to talk to him about things I could not say as he watched TV. We're going to therapy for you this afternoon. We wish you would take your medication. Dad, I said, I want you to take me out in the woods and shoot me. Dad kind of stuttered and mumbled something. Then we're back into complete silence. I broke it. I got up and walked to the piano. Playing striding chords, I began songs that I couldn't remember, or a few lines, and I'd forget them until I settled down upon this song, Daddy-O, and I forgot that he was in the room. First time I hugged my father, I was 7, he was 33. First time I hugged my father, I had this pain, it wouldn't go away. I was upstairs with my brother in my room, trying not to cry. I was looking for the morning light to come and move the night on by. Outside, the crickets were chirping and a half moon glowed above. I buried my head in the pillowcase as my heart was pounding with love. I screamed and I howled for the pain to stop, for some God, somebody to crash through the rooftop. The echoes of my cry through the hallways with a sigh. He woke up my dad and he turned on his bedroom light. He ran upstairs as a dog barked at the moon. My brother told me he's coming soon. Then he opened the door and he rushed to my side and I leaped in his arms. Daddy, don't let me die. Daddy-O, Daddy-O. Don't ever let go. Hold on me tight. Won't you rise from your dreams in the dead of the night? Daddy-O, I love you more than you'll ever know. Dawned on me, my father had heard the song. I took one gasp of breath and literally purposely fell off the piano, winding up on the floor. Of all the songs to sing, my father rushed to me, asked if I was okay. I directly looked him into his eyes and said, Dad, this has happened before. He kind of turned his head like a dog who didn't know what he was doing. He went back to his chair. My mother came down the stairs. Oh my God, what happened to him? She said, crossing over to stand next to my father. He was playing piano and he fell off the chair. I was looking at the ceiling and the paneling on the wall. My mother reached for him. He needs my help. My father held her back. I thought to myself, who are these people? And how did I get here? No, Boots. We have to go, he said, as my mother went. My father stepped over me to the other side of me, turned out and reached back for my mother's hand as she stood at my side. I looked up at her. She towered above me. I felt like I'd never been so close to her. She took my father's hand as she stepped over me. My son. He pulled her to the other side again and turned to open the door to the outside. She broke away from him and reached out to me. I can't leave him like this. How could I leave him like this? My father held her back and she began to weep. I looked at them together, holding each other. Again, I said, Mom, Dad, this has happened before. He led her away out the door. I heard bits and pieces of what they were saying, but I heard their feet pushing off the stones in the driveway, car doors opening, slamming, car starting, moving in reverse gear, tires rolling back on the stones. And soon they were off to therapy. As I lay there, thinking. Okay, that's about all I got. Want to hear another 20 minutes? Thank you.
Okay, everybody. There we go. Thank you, guys. It was a great evening. We're going to open it up to the house. If anybody has any questions, you could raise your hand. If you want to say hello, we would love to just say hi to you guys. You could put a question in the Q&A. Susan Shutt, I have a feeling there is a relationship here. Susan, just unmute yourself and you're on.
There is definitely a relationship. Buffy is my little sister. And I'm very proud of her. And I was so happy to hear all of you. Your poems were all great. They talked about very relevant subjects that we really need to deal with, especially as we get older. I say congratulations to all of you. And Buffy, you're the best. I love you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you all very much.
Buffy, do you want to say anything? Oh, you're muted, Buffy.
Thanks, Gogo. Always been my biggest booster my whole life.
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
All right. If anybody else wants to share, wants to comment, you can Q&A. Oh, yeah, I have a Q&A something. This is from Alan Blumenfeld. Hey, Alan, how are you doing? Buffy, did Harvey Weinstein think you were talking about him and fuck with your computer?
No, it wasn't Harvey. There's just so many. And made up ones even.
Oh my God. Actually, Catherine James is what Alan says. Question
Catherine,
mark.
yes.
Oh my gosh. Anybody else? Anybody want to comment for any of our poets? I want to say, guys, I'm always so moved by how personal the pieces get. Which is really, it just completely blows me away. Outside of the artistry, just the openness and the rawness is really brilliant. So thank you, guys. Stan Davis, great job to all of you. Enjoyed the presentation. Special hello to Michael. We loved your song and poem. Your best neighbors, Stan and Leslie. Mr. Michael.
Thank you, Stan and Leslie.
Oh, fantastic. Susan, oh, wait, I just lost you. Susan Garnett, did you mean to go off? Wait, there we are. Just unmute yourself. There you go. You're up.
Oh, hey, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed watching you guys. And thank you so much, Kevin, for inviting me. It was really, really good, very creative, and I'm very impressed. So thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Margie Claire says, Michael, my brother, the eternal optimistic romantic. I love you.
That's my sister, Margie. Thanks, Marg.
Very funny. All right. Anyone else? Any poets? You guys want to comment at all?
Yes.
Can I make it?
Please, Elaine, absolutely.
I just wanted to thank everyone for sharing something that was deep for each one of you. I just feel so lucky to be among you and to be able to hear all the things that you had to say. Everything was just exquisite. Thank you.
Elaine, and likewise, absolutely likewise. We're lucky to have you. And Debbie Morgan says, such a delightful, talented group. I always love when performers are enjoying themselves. So yes, I think everybody enjoyed themselves. I
Hey,
did.
Todd,
Yeah.
Indeed we did.
Martha wants to say something, but off camera. She just wants to say something.
Yeah, I'm
Off-
having a
Oh,
bad
sure.
day. But I wanted to say, one, how much I enjoyed and have enjoyed all of the performances, but this was absolutely wonderful. And starting with, I should have written it last night, it felt like we're in a conversation, just a two-person conversation. The timing, the rhythms were so engaging. So I just appreciate everyone, enjoyed it so very, very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. And Bruce Robinson says, our wonderful playwright, Bruce Robinson, wonderful work by all, emotional and engaging. Love you, Buffy. I'm a fan. And of course, love that Devon. Bravo. Fan base. Wonderful. We'll go for a couple minutes more if anybody has any thoughts. Otherwise, we'll run off and go to dinner. We can literally go out to dinner now. So how about that?
Yeah. I'd love to say something. I want to say that like other people have said, it's really wonderful to be in this Zoom box. So Todd, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thank you again, as always, for creating this haven in the blanking pandemic, a safe place for all of us to be together and to create and to support one another. And it's funny, I think this is like our fourth time. I know Poetri had to jump off, he might jump back on, but like, I feel like we're all meshing together, like, you know, like 9 different flavors of Baskin Robbins, and we're all just one delicious scoop. So it's been really fun to listen to you all.
I agree completely. I agree. I mean, it's really, you know, we have the Smartphone Theater Poets. You got it. It's really a wonderful company. And Devon, you weren't here at our rehearsal the other day, but you know, eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, be able to get everybody on a stage, a live stage, and actually do a performance somewhere. We'll make it work. We'll certainly make it work. But that would be fantastic.
I'd like to thank Todd for your patience.
Oh, sure.
Because I seem not to be able to get it through my head for a while about what mute and unmute was, looking at the buttons and everything. Said it had to tell me about 7 times.
Oh, believe me, you're.
Thank you so much.
Elaine, you are easy. Believe me, no problem at all.
It's always wonderful to be part of it. Thank you all. It's been wonderful. I look forward to the next time we get together. Have a happy outgoing summer, and hopefully we'll be all well in the fall.
Yes. So our next one will be right around fall, if not sooner. But everybody will get a note. And again, our audience is here and all over the world. We do have a really cool interview coming up that will be revealed shortly. So it's
hey, what about July 4th?
What about July 4th? That's a couple weeks away.
We can write our patriotic red, white, and blue.
You never know. You never know. You never know, Kev. We'll be in touch. All right, guys. I'm gonna say so long to our audience. I'm gonna say so long to you guys. Thank you. It was a wonderful, wonderful night. And now you guys can go out to dinner and have fun. And I hope to see all of you in person very soon.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you all very, very much. Much appreciated.
you.
Todd, thanks for your help, technically speaking.
Todd, you're the best. I'm sorry about the glitch.
No, you're beautiful. You are beautiful.
Okay,
Wonderful. Everything was wonderful. All right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Abiento.
Bye, everybody.
Abiento. Okay.
In Ethiopia, Abyssinia.
Yeah, exactly.